Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the ghost town of Drawbridge, which is located in the San Francisco Bay near the Coyote Slough. This is of course in California. The nearest town is called Fremont. Drawbridge, in some people's mind, is considered the only ghost town in the Bay Area. There's one more which I recently did a video on, so you should check that out. I'll put the link below, and that one's called Wingo. But the reason that people say this is the only ghost town is because there's nobody living there anymore. In fact, it's off limits. It's part of the Don Edwards wildlife area. The public is no longer allowed access. They're trying to let the bird life recover and whatnot. But I want to give a very brief history on Drawbridge because it'll help you understand it. But what we're going to do today, since we can't go there, we're going to fly over it and get some drone shots of it. And the purpose of this video is a lot of it is just to show you what the condition is today versus some of the older videos that were produced way back when. But there's a couple of historical videos which I'll link to below, and there's some interviews and old footage, and there's some really nice stuff. I mean, if I thought I could do it better, I would, but they're really good. So check them out below, and if you want to see those, that's a good source of historical footage. But I want to give you a brief history just so you understand what's going on there. So what happened was in 1876, they put a narrow gauge railroad through there that went from Alameda in the East Bay area all the way to Santa Cruz to the south. This one section that went over Marsh, and it went to the island called Station Island, and there's just a slough on either side, and there was a drawbridge that they needed to use. In order to make that useful, they had to station somebody out there, and so they had one guy out there living out there, and he was just the drawbridge operator. But then people passing through on the train saw all the duck life out there, and they realized this could be a pretty cool place to go duck hunting. So they arranged to stop at Drawbridge at that place and then do their duck hunting. And then the town started to grow. And by 1900, it was kind of booming. I don't know, maybe there's 100 people out there. But in duck hunting season on a weekend or whatever, there could be 600 people out there. So they built more and more buildings out there. There was a hotel they built out there. And it's not part of a town, it was just a community. It was pretty lawless. And for that reason, there was bars and partying and prostitution and gambling and all that illegal stuff was happening, because nobody cared. So it became kind of this party place that was also a duck hunting place. And some people would go there just to have fun and vacation. But it still was mostly duck hunters. There was just a bounty of ducks. And then a couple things started happening. And this was by the 20s or 30s. I think there's maybe as many as 600 people living out there. It was quite an establishment. And then as the place became more industrial, the area around here, there was raw sewage dumped in the Marsh, and there was also some canneries, some canning factories, which had just horrible pollution, including sulfuric acid, and the water became very polluted, and it was very smelly, and the bird life left, and people didn't want to live there because it smelled so bad. Simultaneously, they started building levees for the salt marshes that you can still see out here, and people were using more water, so the water table was dropping, and the levees were built, and then the town began to sink. I think by 1963, it was so bad that there was 5 people left here. And then after that, there was one guy that lived here until 1979, and he was just a diehard. People would come out there thinking it's a ghost town and take pot shots at his house. And I should also mention there was a lot of lawless hunting. People with guns would come out and just shoot any bird, whether it was protected or not just ducks to bring home and eat, but just birds to shoot just for the yucks and giggles. So it was pretty stupid. And this guy's name, who lived here until 1979, was named Charlie Luce. And Charlie said that in the latter days, people would think it was a ghost town because it looked like hell, but he was still living there. And they would shoot at his house and shoot the windows out, and he was actually inside. And he said he had many, many bullets go through his house, many broken windows, and it was just kind of a pain. He finally put a sign on the side of his house, "I'm still here, don't shoot," or something like that. But then Charlie finally left in 1979. But all this activity affected the water table, so the land began to sink. And Charlie would say that every few years he'd have to lift up his house a little more, and they had ways to do that. But then it just got to be too much. So nowadays, everything is sinking, and it's just going into the marsh. So sometimes you see roof lines that are near the ground and whatnot. We're going to check that out. There's some other footage that's pretty good that was done a while ago, but the purpose of this video is just try to update, see how it is in the 2024 and 2025 time frame, and so that'll give you a look at it. It's probably about a mile that way, and I can get my drone out there, and we're going to send up the drone, and we're going to cruise it, and we're just going to show you what it looks like today. So let's go do that. From here, you're looking at Station Island from the southern end, and you can actually ride a bicycle out to that little parking lot on the right. And this is the closest you can get to the town. But I chose not to fly the drone from there because it's illegal, because it's technically within the wildlife area. So I flew from elsewhere. Here's the first house that you come upon. And this one's in pretty good shape, but I'm going to show you another view coming up on it, and you can see the buildings on the left there, And the one on the right is the one I just showed you a second ago. And we're going to get another view of this one. Is in pretty good shape, but there's some dilapidated structures around it. And this is the southern end, which is kind of separate from the northern end. And then there's an area where there isn't a whole lot going on, but it's just kind of marshy in here. And there's a couple of structures you can see along here, but there isn't a whole lot going on. And then as we move north, you can see a couple of structures on the right there that are in pretty bad shape. But it's very obvious that things are getting really bad in here, and these structures are sinking into the dirt. Right there in the foreground and just to the right of the tracks, you can see a roof line that has actually sunk all the way down to the ground. And then there's another structure to the right of it that's in really horrible shape. There's a bird flying by there. Here's another view of it. Not much going on. And then there's another structure on the left there that is sunk, and this one is pretty decent. However, you can see that the roof is almost at ground level, even though it's in pretty good shape. And this building here I find interesting. Well, there's that one sunken in the foreground there, but this larger one, I don't know what this was, but maybe this was the hotel or something, because it looks like it's pretty large, and you can see the little board going across the creek there. And this building here is standing pretty tall, but it's actually sunken in a bit. There's another foundation that's right on the surface. And here's another building in pretty bad shape. I did notice that walkway up ahead, and I thought maybe that led to another building. But as we swing around, I'm going to show you that that seems to maybe just lead over to the levee there. So maybe it was just a way to get from the tracks over to somewhere where you could walk, because this place was obviously always pretty marshy. It's just kind of a weird place. And then I'm going to take you to the north end of Station Island. Maybe this was where the drawbridge used to be. I'm not sure. But as we go here, you can obviously see the big salt flat on the right, and there's a train signal there. But I'm going to swing around and show you this salt flat a little better. And that's going to conclude our little trip with the drone. Unfortunately, I was basically out of range, so it was really difficult to maintain a good signal, so I didn't get the footage I wanted to. I would have enjoyed flying a little bit lower and seeing more, but that just wasn't in the cards. Wow, well, thanks for coming along on this adventure. I guess Drawbridge has been pretty much left for the birds, as they say. I'm kind of surprised how little is left. It's really, really decaying badly, and it makes me thankful for all those old videos that were taken, so we still have those memories on video. But as far as the current state of affairs, it's pretty darn bad. So anyway, thanks for coming along in the video. And until next time, thanks for watching.